When that music hits, there is no denying who that is running down to the ring at 100 miles an hour. Welcome back, everyone. This is Jason. We're going to be talking about the Hall of Fame 2014. This past Monday, they announced the first inductee that's going to get put into the WWE Hall of Fame the day before WrestleMania 30 this year. The Ultimate Warrior. Uh, there had been some rumblings ever since last fall when you started seeing promotional material for WWE's 2K game that came out last year. Uh, we started seeing the commercials, the interviews, little rumblings going on all throughout the internet. Um, you know, it was really cool to see him back. For me, at least, I know there's a lot of people out there who don't like the Ultimate Warrior, think he's just a flash in the pan or whatever. And this is coming from someone again who grew up with the old school wrestling. I grew up loving Hulk Hogan, Brutus the Barber Beefcake, uh, the Ultimate Warrior, George the Animal Steel, Snuka, Andre, all those guys. That's who I first was introduced to when I watched wrestling back in the 80s. The Rock and Wrestling Connection, all that stuff. The cartoons, everything. And the Ultimate Warrior, okay, he came a few years later after that, but still he was part of that, that huge time in wrestling, that epic time, the what do they call the land of the giants, Um, everything was big and over the top and just epic. I'm uh I'm really excited about this, and I wanted to do this video like as soon as they announced it Monday night, but I took some time and did a little research, and I actually went back and watched that home video that they put out in 2008, the oh, excuse me, no, 2005, the self-destruction of the Ultimate Warrior. I watched it again. I'd watched it several years ago, but I wanted to watch it again just to see, what everybody had said about it. All the interviews throughout the whole documentary, um, just how damaging it really was, and it was. There's there's things that happen in the wrestling industry all the time. Things that no one ever hears about. Things that go on behind the scenes. Things that could really damage a person's reputation if they come into the public eye. Well, this whole documentary, I mean, the first like 5-10 minutes were pretty genuine. You know, talked about the history of I mean, it was all about the history of the Ultimate Warrior. But as far as just history part, it was like the first 5-10 minutes, and the rest of it just was like the steady decline of of him and bashing him, and it was just, I mean, it was a good story. Don't get me wrong, it was well done, but it was harsh. It was really harsh, and people wonder for years, are they ever gonna dig themselves out of this? Are they going to at some point make an apology for releasing this? Um, you got to wonder about that. They've got time, and maybe that was something that was done personally, in Vince's office between Ultimate Warrior and Vince McMahon. I'm never gonna know. Most of us are probably never gonna know what kind of conversations went on between, Vince and Ultimate Warrior, or Triple H and Ultimate Warrior, whatever the case. Um, but let me tell you, I'm ecstatic. I can't. They're joking about it all week on TV. Um, what is that acceptance speech going to be like when he gets up there? You're going to give the Ultimate Warrior a live mic after not being in the WWE for almost 20 years. Oh, that's going to be priceless. It really is. Uh, because if you've heard his stuff, he is kind of out there. He's unique. He really is. I'm not going to say he's insane. I just think some people are a little more into their ego than others, and that's about where I'm going to leave that right there. But it's fun to listen to him talk, because he does sound a lot more humble now than he did, obviously in his promos back in the WWF. He was just crazy out there, fuel up the rocket ship. And it's classic stuff. I love it. I love it. I really do. Um, I'm not expecting anything more out of this than there already is. Um, I did read a snippet a couple days ago saying that there was some kind of extensive uh, Legends deal in place. Uh, so obviously he's going in the Hall of Fame. He's probably going to be signing autographs at um, what is that called before WrestleMania? Oh, the Access. The days prior to WrestleMania, where you can get autographs from everyone. He's probably going to do, an appearance in there, and he's probably going to do some other promotional stuff. When they ask him to throughout the next year, couple of years, whatever it may be. It's wonderful to see them finally showing him the respect that he deserves. Now, whether he did all those things that they said that he did in the documentary, The Self-Destruction of the Ultimate Warrior, as far as being so egotistical that he demanded a certain amount of money or he wasn't going to go out there, whatever. Who didn't have an ego the size of, back then? Um, if he did it, whatever. It was almost 20 years ago. Who cares? Um, or over 20 years ago, whatever it was. Um, he's going in the Hall of Fame. He deserves it. He he was part of that big time back then. Um, in fact, in watching that documentary, I was pleasantly surprised that when he came into the WWF, excuse me, back then, uh, he started in '87. They brought him in. He was the Dingo Warrior, and I was part of the start of the ribbing there. I was like, what's a Dingo Warrior? And then when they changed him to the Ultimate Warrior, it was a few months later in '87, and they actually debuted the Ultimate Warrior in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Little thing, thanks to Mr. Anderson there. So yeah, that was a nice little piece of history that I was uh, happy to find out about, that he actually debuted his character in Green Bay, Wisconsin, because I'm from Wisconsin, so uh, that was kind of sweet. Just another little piece of history there from Wisconsin and the world of wrestling. So then you got to wonder, so he's going in the Hall of Fame. There's also rumors about, in my last video I was talking about TNA Genesis, and now it looks like Sting is on his way out of TNA. And like I said in the last video, every year this time, people start talking about, is Sting going to go to the WWE, have himself inducted in the Hall of Fame, have a match with The Undertaker or something like that, some epic thing going on. Well, that rumor's going on again. It could happen. It couldn't. It's been going on for the last 3-4 years now. These rumors. It might. It'd be cool. I'd like to see Sting, make an appearance in the WWE, once in his career. Never say never in the wrestling industry, and this is kind of one of those things. So then, if he does come over and gets put in the Hall of Fame, get some recognition from Vince for his, outstanding career in the wrestling industry. That is the other half of the Blade Runners when they started out as a tag team. Sting and Steve Borden and Jim Hellwig were the Blade Runners, and I can't think of where it was. They said in the DVD, Mid-South, something like that, somewhere, some southern territory where they started out, and they showed a picture of them together with none other than Zeb Coulter, aka Dutch Mantle. So you gotta wonder, well, obviously Ultimate Warrior's going in, who's going to induct him? And if Sting goes in, who's going to induct him? Maybe Zeb could do both. No, probably not. But out of all the people in that documentary that I watched over again, that were, you say, kind, if you want to say kind, to the Ultimate Warrior